Hello, this is Governor Arnold Schwarzenegger with another California report. Now, 5 weeks ago, I addressed the joint session of the legislature, and I laid out the tough cuts necessary to close California's $26.3 billion deficit. I also made two things very clear. One, I won't raise your taxes to pay for Sacramento's mistakes, and two, I won't cut a dollar from education or healthcare or state parks without first looking inside government, making programs more efficient, and root out the waste, fraud, and abuse of your hard-earned tax dollars. Now, this week, I met with several district attorneys about our in-home supportive services program. They told me about the grand jury's investigations detailing all of the waste and fraud in this program. There are people being paid by the state in multiple counties and under multiple identities. There are even people right now in jail continuing to receive payments for performing in-home supportive services even though they are in jail. Think about that. The district attorneys have recommended simple reforms like fingerprinting and background checks for recipients and also for the patients. These reforms could save the state hundreds of millions of dollars. Now, also this week, I brought together our state social services leaders to focus on another program that must be reformed to save taxpayers' dollars and to help our budget, which is called CalWorks. Now, CalWorks, by the way, is the state's welfare program, and it is intended to give struggling Californians a helping hand temporarily. Now, I remember back in 1996 when President Clinton partnered with the Republican Congress to enact historic welfare reform. And he said that his goal was to make welfare a second chance, but not a way of life. Now, our welfare program ought to be based on joint responsibility, which means that we in government give the people the bootstrap, but they have to pull themselves up. The only problem is that right now, here in California, nearly 80% of our recipients are not meeting the simple federal work requirements, but the families are still receiving the checks and all the benefits. California's policies are actually encouraging people to stay on welfare. Our benefits are much more generous than in other states. Now let me give you an example. California is 12% of the nation's population, yet we have 30% of the welfare recipients. Now, for 5 years, I have been pushing to reform this program, to bring our benefits and our sanctions more in line with other states. But the legislators always say, we will fix this later. This is not part of the budget. Let's just do it later. Well, later is now. That's right, it's now. We have to solve the $26.3 billion budget deficit right now. My CalWorks reforms will save $753 million in the current fiscal year and $1.5 billion annually in the coming years. I want you to know that there's no way that I will sign a budget that does not address the abuse and does not finally reform the way Sacramento does business. I'm committed to California, and I'm committed to accountability in California government. So thank you again for watching, and thank you for listening.